Hello everyone, and thanks for watching. What I want to do today is give you a quick walkthrough of the new kube-state-metrics support in Sysdig Monitor. We're excited to have this new functionality as it gives you a whole new dimension of insight to help make your Kubernetes monitoring even more effective. Those of you already familiar with Sysdig Monitor know that today we already have robust Kubernetes monitoring. What we call Service Vision enables us to look at things like CPU, memory, network, and storage from an aggregate service point of view and segmented by Kubernetes objects. Now, over the past year, a project called kube-state-metrics has gained momentum, and what kube-state-metrics does is give you information about the state of Kubernetes objects such as deployments, namespaces, nodes, and pods. With Sysdig Monitor, we're able to provide state information in addition to health status with resource usage and performance data. Now, this gives you a very comprehensive view of what's happening in your Kubernetes cluster. The first thing you'll notice is that we've added several new groupings. Previously, we had deployments and replication controllers. Now, we have additional choices: replica sets, daemon sets, deployments starting with clusters, which, by the way, is one of the most common groupings that we've seen with our customers, as well as clusters and nodes and services. We'll select deployments and pods, which gives you a hierarchy of namespace, deployment, pod, and container. And here in the UI, this is how the infrastructure is now organized. Now I can click through on prod, which is a namespace, and here below you'll see that it brings up a dashboard called Kubernetes Namespace State. This gives you a quick overview and state of the prod namespace. It tells you the number of deployments, the number of pods, container count, pods in different status like desired, available, and unavailable, and a little more in-depth for the capacity as well for that namespace. Now we can go a level deeper from a namespace to a deployment. When I click on it, you can see that namespace is not applicable to the deployment. So we'll instead look at the deployment state. This gives you an overview of your deployment's kube-state-metrics, and you can see the capacity and status of your pods in your deployment, and similarly, you can look at the pod state as well. If you go back to entire infrastructure, you can see all the available Kubernetes state dashboards that are here for you. The cool thing is that you can select a Kubernetes state overview, and this gives you an overall view. We can see we have 5 namespaces, 15 services, deployments, pods, and containers. Are there any restarts? What is the container count? Are there any unavailable pods, pod restarts, and so forth? One thing to note, you still have all of the dashboards we used to have based on your system health. Everything's still available. You'll find these under resource usage. Let's click on Namespace Health, and here you'll see a whole range of metrics like response time, CPU, memory, file system use, and activity. And you can look at these metrics at a namespace level, a deployment level. You'll see similar details. You can look at nodes and see what the node health looks like. You can look at pod and so forth. What we've done here for you is to segregate state metrics, the status of objects, from the health metrics. These are the performance metrics that you've collected from your containers in the context of your Kubernetes objects. Now, if we look at the metrics folder, you'll see a similar categorization. Under Kubernetes state, you'll see the list of kube-state-metrics that we are extracting for deployments, daemon sets, jobs, namespaces, nodes, pods, and so on. Now, this is an ongoing effort, so we've added a bunch of new metrics, and we'll continue to add new metrics as kube-state makes them available. For instance, recently they added HPA metrics, horizontal pod autoscaler. We'll be adding that as well. Okay, so we've done the segregation to give you more in-depth analysis of each object. But in your dashboards folder, when you're building a dashboard, you can mix and match any of this data. So here I'm looking at a namespace state dashboard, and I'm looking at the number of deployments and number of pods. But of course, I can add to this. For instance, I can add CPU used by namespace, and this will show up here at the bottom. So you can mix and match your kube-state-metrics and non-kube-state-metrics in one place, giving you the most flexibility to have the information that you need. The third thing I'll talk about is alerts. We're introducing a bunch of out-of-the-box alerts. You'll see they all start with Kubernetes. For example, crash loop back off, deployment stuck, and so forth. If you click on any of these alerts, you'll see that it's already set up in scope. For example, this one compares the pods available with the desired and makes sure that you have enough pods for running your deployment. And it does that for each deployment and each namespace. This way, as and when your deployments keep coming online, these alerts will automatically get defined for any new deployment. And in this case, it helps you ensure that you have enough pods to run your deployment. All you need to do is enable this to turn it on instead of having to go through the setup yourself. Great, so these are all the key changes around kube-state-metrics. Just to summarize, Sysdig Monitor features new groupings, new dashboards, and new metrics. You can mix and match your dashboards so you can see things how you want to see them. And we have new alerts as well right out of the box to help you keep on top of everything in your Kubernetes environment. For more info, including a free trial, visit our website at sysdig.com. Thanks for watching.